Wall Street Memes Casino,
I'm fine.
and Sportsbook. Get a sign-up bonus of 200% up to $25,000 when joining today. Sign up now. Terms and conditions apply.
Vote for IFL in this year's Sports Podcast Awards. Go to www.sportspodcastgroup.com and vote for us in Best Combat Sports Podcast and the Diverse Voices Awards categories. IFL Pod, available across all major streaming platforms now.
This is COLM McGuigan for IFL TV. Delighted to be joined by Frank Smith. Frank, first time I've interviewed you since this haircut, mate. You look like Stuart Little, have to be honest.
Stuart Little?
Yeah, what, I've just tagged you, the kid from Stuart Little. You're his double.
Really?
Honestly.
I was thinking more, a few shouts I've had is Prison Break guy. Don't know what his name is. Yeah.
Stuart Little's the one.
Stuart Little. That's the first I've heard of Stuart Little. There's been some others. My memory's shocking though. But, you know, it's just a bit of a change.
What's your missus think about this new Frank Smith?
She loves it. She did it. Yeah, it was when I was in Thailand. I was at dinner. I was really hot. And I said, do you know what, my hair's getting on my nerves, so should we just shave it off? And she did it with one of my mates, Bertie. So they were the worst barbers you've ever seen in your life, but they did it.
Multi-talented. Frank, back in Belfast so soon, did you expect this after the last fight night? Because it was something that kind of just came out of nowhere.
Yeah, look, it was an opportunity that came up very last minute. Obviously, we announced this latter part of December. But it's great to be back. We had a great night, although albeit didn't go Michael Conlan's way. It was great to be back in Belfast and see the atmosphere and see the appetite for boxing. You know, we've had brilliant nights here over the years with the likes of Carl Frampton, obviously that night in December, and I think there's some big nights to come here. You know, obviously Crocker and Donovan's a massive fight for the future that we'd love to make, and that's one that, you know, tonight or Saturday night could really set up.
We'll move on to that in a second. I do need to ask, have there been discussions with Michael Conlan? Because it was kind of spoke about that he had signed a 3-fight deal. Was that only if he won? Or
I think it's more what Michael wants to do. You know, look, he's had a tremendous career. He's done amazing things in his career. You know, both amateur and professional. He's in a fortunate position that financially he's done very well. He doesn't need to box anymore. But it'll be for him to decide what he wants to do. And I don't know whether he's made that decision yet. Obviously, we'll be seeing Jamie while we're here and see if there is something there still for Michael. But that's really driven by him over anyone else.
In terms of this fight night, Lewis Crocker, I asked Lewis, I asked Billy. They don't know the answer, so they said they ask you. Is Lewis a matchroom fighter, or does it depend if he wins on Saturday night?
Yeah, I think so. And I think the thing we want to do is make great fights. And that's why I mentioned the Lewis Crocker against Paddy Donovan fight. That's a natural fight to make. They're both in a position where one of them, you know, look, even if they take that fight, the winner obviously goes on to some huge nights. The loser can still come back into great fights. You know, but this is what we need to do. We need to build the interest in these types of fights. You know, we saw a great performance from Paddy Donovan the week before on November 25th, before our Belfast show. Then we saw a great performance from Lewis Crocker, and that's the kind of fight we need to look at.
Kurt Walker's on this card, and when I spoke to him and his coach, Joseph Iqbal, they spoke about they want Hopey Price next. Is that a fight that you'd like to make?
Look, Hopey's obviously got the British title fight next. You know, we're just waiting for the date to work through that, but that's the plan next for Hopey. You know, Kurt, I'm glad we could get him on. Obviously, Jamie pushed hard to get him on, very late notice, but he's a tremendous fighter and looking forward to seeing him out on Saturday. But possibly down the line, that's a fight that could be made.
Jose Felix Crocker at 147. Will the weight be an issue for either of these guys? Because obviously we've seen before Felix a little bit lighter. We've seen Crocker come in heavier. What's the situation there?
Now, look, I think looking at Jose Felix, the pictures of him this week, he looks in unbelievable shape. And he's not coming here just to lay down. And you know, this is an opportunity for him again to sort of state his case, you know, for some big fights. He obviously did that in the fight against Gary Cully, and that's probably a key reason why he's here as well. You know, that was a tremendous win against Gary Cully back in May. So yeah, he looks in unbelievable shape and ready to go. And you know, Lewis is focused, you know, for 147.
Talk to me a bit about the Matchroom schedule. It's just came out. Frank, happy with it so far? Anything that will be added? Quite light on the US side of things.
Yeah, we're still working on a few other bits. There's not everything. We just wanted to get the shows out there. You know, look, I think Dalton Smith's big step-up fight against Cepeda, that's a great fight in Sheffield, and Sandy Ryan, Terry Harper's a brilliant fight as well. We've got another fight to be announced soon for the end of March, which will come out very soon. April 6th excited for Richardson Hitchens against Lemos, because Lemos is the kind of fighter that's going to make Richardson fight. We saw him against Andrew Selby. He's a brilliant fighter. Obviously, he won the final eliminator at 135. He's now at 140. That's a great fight. Zelfa Barrett, Jordan Gill, another brilliant fight, and that sets the winner of that fight onto the opportunity to get a big world title fight as well. A lot of people saying shouldn't be in that arena. The focus for us is making great fights. That's a great fight that people want to see. Like, we'll do, unfortunately there's just not arena sizes that maybe fit every show. We're confident we'll do good numbers on it. We're not going to sell 20,000 tickets, that's the reality of it, but we're confident we'll do very good numbers on it. April 27, Jericho Quinn rematch against Peter McGraw. Peter McGraw's got a task on his hand with his comeback. He was coasting that fight, but got caught with a big shot. Lots of other big fights to be announced as well. We're still working on a few other big ones for May time, possibly April as well. But yeah, I think we're in a good place in terms of schedule all the way through to April.
I don't mean this disrespectfully, but is it a step back for Diego Pacheco not to be headlining his own show after the last time? It was kind of moving him in the direction of headlining his own shows, and now he's back to co-main.
Yeah, we wanted him to headline a show in LA. Unfortunately, the venue wasn't available, and we like that YouTube theatre. We think it's a perfect venue. It's very close to where he lives. Can hold 5,000 in there as well, 4,500, 5,000, and that will be the plan for the summer. We would have headlined him there in April if it was available, but that will be the plan for the summer. The key for us is Diego, albeit has progressed a lot, he's still very young. And the key for him is going to be activity. He would fight in the biggest fights possible tomorrow, but we have to do it at the right pace with him. Look, he'll be back out in the summer and very much focused on getting him back out in LA for another headline.
Would it be fair to say that the winner of Berlanga-McCrory is an ideal opponent for Diego Pacheco in the summertime, possibly in LA?
Yeah, look, that would be a great fight. That would be a great fight. I know you think your boy McCrory is going to go in there and upset everyone. He got the big Irish army travelling out there, hasn't he? He's got big numbers, but it's an exciting fight. I think you can't look past that fight, but that's a great fight to look at for the summer. There's also interesting fights maybe in that Matchroom v Queensbury show as well for one of those guys. So let's see.
We'll move on to that in a second. I have another few questions for you. Jack Catterall, Josh Taylor, where are we at with that?
Yeah, it's a fight we're looking at and working on. But obviously it has to stack up and make sense. I think it's going to play out over the next 5 to 7 days, and we'll see where we fall with it. But yeah, it has to make sense for all parties involved. So let's see.
More than likely to land in Manchester or in Scotland?
Not sure. I think it could land on neutral ground, to be honest.
The Matchroom Japan situation, something that me and you spoke about before, the prize fighter type of thing. What's the situation there? Because we've seen rumours that, the likes of Felix Kaisch will be on that show. We've seen a lot of rumours out there. Is that show still going ahead? When is it going ahead?
It's not. Felix Kaisch won't be on it. It's not announced yet. It'll be announced next week. I'm flying to Tokyo next week. We've got a press conference there on Wednesday to announce all the details for it. Excited to get going in Japan. It's a massive market that we're looking forward to. We've got 3 shows next year, so going to be some big nights.
There's been rumours in the Derry Journal, which is a newspaper here, that you're familiar, that
you didn't do an interview in it, did you?
Coyle Williams is off. What's the situation there?
I believe there is an issue with Coyle. But we're working on, replacement fights for...
Who is the likely replacement for Amon Williams this late?
Going through that now. The team are going. It's all very fresh, so we're going through it now, and hopefully some news soon on that. But we want to make sure Ammo fights, so that'll be the focus for us for Feb 3rd.
I need to ask you, Frank. You sat down with Frank Warren, something that I, in my lifetime, never thought I would see. How was it?
It was good. He's good to spend time with. We've both said things in the past. But at the end of the day, it's all a bit of fun and games. That's not real. The relationships were good, and anything that can benefit the sport of boxing and benefit our fighters is good. So, we won't be, apart from on the June 1st show, and any Matchroom v Queensbury fights will be like this. But yeah, the relationships in a good place. So that can only be good for the sport.
In terms of the conversations on the Matchroom versus Queensbury, can you give us an idea of a few of the names that we're likely to see?
No, not yet, because we're still working through the weight divisions. But news, we're going to announce that show, or the fighters for that show, on the week of Joshua Ngannou, so March the 3rd or 4th, around that week there. So there's work going on at the minute. We've got a couple of weeks still to get all the plans in place, but we're working to make a massive night.
Beterbiev Bivol has been rumoured to be on this June the 1st date. Will that happen if it's going to be a Queensbury versus Matchroom show?
Look, in terms of Beterbiev Bivol, it's a tremendous fight. We all want to see it. You know, Dimitri signed up, as everyone knows, when he had his previous fight. It's the only fight he's focused on and wants. I don't think it's signed. I don't know. I don't believe it's signed yet on the other side. I believe the fight happens. I'm not sure on dates or anything just yet, but I believe we see that fight this year.
John Ryder, tough test this week against Jaime Munguia. I imagine Eddie's over there, and that's why you're here. In terms of John Ryder and his opportunity, this is a massive chance for John Ryder to get back in the mix again.
Yeah, look, a huge fight. And I actually don't think Munguia has been tested much. Outside of the Derevyanchenko fight, he hasn't really fought anyone of note. You know, we saw how much heart John Ryder showed in that fight against Canelo Alvarez. This is a massive opportunity for him to go out there and get involved in those big fights this year. And I believe he can win. He's got to start early. Sometimes he doesn't start early enough, but we've seen some tremendous performances from him, and he's really shown huge improvements in the latter part of his career, what is now the latter part of his career. And yeah, it's a massive chance for him, and I believe he can go in there and do a job on Jaime Munguia.
Frank Smith, we'll catch up again tomorrow, mate. I've took up enough of your time today. I appreciate it, Stuart Little. Thank you.
Cheers, mate. Thanks, Stuart.
I'm fine.